Hello, welcome to a new course about web development. This is just a PowerPoint presentation that I've prepared to explain some of the basics of the topic. So what is web development? It's the creation of web pages like Google or Facebook. So whenever you go on the internet and you search up for a website and then you click on a link, you see a web page. And that's what web development is, it's creating those web pages. It's a very highly paid career with an average salary in the UK of 47,500. And there are many different aspects of web development, such as the layout, the styling and programming, which can all be done separately in a larger company, but they can also be done by one person at a basic or even advanced level if they have enough time. So what does it involve? It involves three main bits. HTML is a language used to configure the layout of the web page using tags. So the layout would be the order of which the elements on the page appear. CSS is a cascading style sheet. It's a language used to configure the styling of the layout, so the color, the size, the spacing between each element on the page, the fonts of the text, and so on. JavaScript, also known as JS, is the brains behind the beauty. So it controls whenever you click on a button, it executes a script, and that's a JavaScript script. Or if you hover over something, it can execute a script, and JavaScript carries out the logic behind these. So in this course we'll start with HTML, which is the basic layout of a web page. Then we'll move on to CSS to style it, and then we'll move on to some very basic JavaScript for buttons. And then finally, once we reach the end, we're going to combine all of the skills, so HTML, CSS and JavaScript, all into one web page, one fully developed web page. Text editors are essential. Well, you can make a web page without a text editor, but they are extremely useful when making a web page. It makes the process 10 times faster and easier because it provides the following things. Highlighting your code to make things navigable. This is known as syntax highlighting, and basically what it does is colors your code. I'll show you an example here. It lets your code go a certain color so you can navigate more easily. So if I need to find where the if statement is, I know that it's here because it's in this color. Or if I need to find some HTML, you can see the color scheme is slightly different to the JavaScript up here. And yeah, it just makes everything much more easy to find. It also auto-completes your code by predicting what you're going to type. Let's show you another example. So if I open this up a bit, if I want to type in an A and then type in href, you can see it gives some examples of what I might want to type. And then I can just select one and press enter, and it will auto-complete it for me, and that makes it very easy. Next one is automatically indenting or aligning your code. You'll see in the code that not everything is the same level, so these bits are further in than, say, this bit. This is called indenting, and it helps to organize your code even more. So if I type in an if statement here, for example, it automatically indents, so you see it's already put an indentation in here for me, and that also speeds up the process an awful lot. It also provides shorthand ways of typing large amounts of code. This is mainly using Emmet, which is a packet that translates simple commands into larger HTML. For example, again, if I go down here and I type in div, let's put brackets around it. So I want a div element, and inside the div element I want a p, and inside the p I want an anchor, and I want it to have the text hello in it, and I want it to do that 5 times. And then I press tab, and you can see that tiny little bit of typing that I did turned into all of this. So it's generated a div with a p inside, and inside that is an anchor, and it says hello. so that's called emit. Browsers are what's used to look at the website, so they translate the code that you type into a web page. Here's an example with the course web page. Here's some of the HTML, not all of it. It would take a lot more than that to make this, and then it turns this HTML and JavaScript and CSS, and it compiles it all into one web page here. And also some web browsers, such as Chrome, allow you to inspect things at the same time. I don't have an example right now, but it's called Chrome Developer Tools, and we'll learn about it later in the course. Let's take a closer look at some of the languages that we'll be using. HTML. HTML is an acronym. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which basically means it's a bunch of text that describes the markup of the web page, or markup is another word for the layout. As it says here, controls the layout. It works by tags. So inside HTML, there are lots of different tags, which are these things in the angle brackets. And this isn't HTML, so this doesn't have any tags, but these do, and you can notice them by the syntax highlighting, but also the angle brackets here. And a tag works by putting angle brackets around the name of the tag, putting the content in the middle here, and then closing the tag. You can also have self-closing tags where it just has one with an open angle bracket and then a slash and then closing one after the name. And inside tags you can also put attributes. For example here, class equals header, that is an attribute, and you can see it follows this syntax or grammar. It's got an angle bracket, yep, the name of the tag, yep, div, the name of the attribute, yep, class, equals here, and then the value here, which is header in this case, and then inside of it is all the content. You notice there's no closing here, but there is, because the closing one's down here. It's just everything here is inside of this tag. Next one is CSS. CSS is used to style the elements on the page. Yeah, sorry, the general syntax, which is the equivalent of grammar of CSS, and it looks like this. Has the name of the tag, and then it has an opening curly brace and a closing curly brace. Everything inside it is the styling. Tags, I'm saying quite a lot, is another word for elements. Tags and elements are sort of interchangeable. They can both be, well, they're the same thing, so it can be referenced by their custom IDs or classes. And IDs and classes, as you saw in the example, can be given to each like this with an attribute. Yeah, here's an ID, and they can be referenced in your code with hashtags and dots. So IDs use hashtags and then the name of the ID, and then classes use dots and then the name of the class. JavaScript, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but these are some of the basic syntaxes to set the value of a variable, which is a piece of data. You can use this equal syntax. Up here, function, name of function. Yeah, I'm not going to explain much of this right now, because that's all you need to know for now. Thanks for watching.